Welcome to Staffworks Explained. If you are here for the first time, please consider subscribing to this channel. In this video, we'll be talking about Nairobi Expressway and the 301 and the 103 billion question. What it means for Kenya's future road projects. In the recent weeks, a figure has dominated public conversation in Kenya's infrastructure space: the 103 billion Kenya shillings. It is the amount that the National Treasury had disclosed as potential termination liability should the government prematurely exit Nairobi Expressway concession. The number has sparked debate, concern, and in some cases, misunderstanding. Yet, beyond the headlines lies a deeper, more instructive story, one about how large infrastructure projects are structured, how risk is allocated, and what this means for future road projects such as the proposed Rironi Nakuru MauSummit highway. From a project management perspective, the Nairobi Expressway is not just a road. It is a case study in long-term planning, construction discipline, and the consequences of decisions made long after construction is complete. Let's give the context. How the Nairobi Expressway was set up. The Nairobi Expressway was developed under the Public-Private Partnership (PPP) framework. Under this model, the project was financed, constructed, and is operated by Moja Expressway Company, a special purpose vehicle associated with China Road and Bridge Construction or Corporation (CRBC). The government of Kenya did not directly borrow funds to build the road. Instead, the private partner raised capital and assumed construction and operational risk, with expectation of recovering its investment through toll revenues over a concession period of approximately 27 to 30 years, as provided in the contract. For the government, the attraction of this model was clear: rapid delivery of a major urban highway without an immediate addition to public debt. For the private partner, the incentive lay in predictable long-term cash flows backed by contractual protections. Those protections are where the 103 billion figure enters the conversation. How termination liabilities work in PPP projects. In PPP contracts, termination clauses are divided or are incidental, or they are not incidental, they are central. Internationally accepted PPP frameworks used in Africa, Europe, Asia, and others recognize three broad termination scenarios. One is where the termination due to government default or convenience. Two is where termination is due to private partner default. Or three is where termination is due to force majeure. If a government unilaterally terminates a project for convenience, meaning the private partner is not at fault, the contract typically requires compensation covering the outstanding project debt, equity invested by the sponsor, agreed returns up to the termination date, and in some cases a portion of future expected earnings. The 103 billion disclosed by the National Treasury represents a maximum contingent liability under such scenario. It reflects what Kenya would potentially owe if it chose to abandon the concession while the private partner remains in compliance with contractual obligation. From a project management standpoint, this figure is not a penalty in the political sense. It is a risk valuation calculated during project appraisal and disclosed in public accounts to ensure fiscal transparency. Why this matters: the risk allocation and investor confidence. PPP projects succeed or fail on one principle: credible commitment. Investors commit billions of shillings upfront based on assurance that contract will be honored across political cycles. If government were free to cancel projects without compensation, private capital would simply price in high risk or stay away entirely. Termination payments therefore function as a stabilizing mechanism, ensuring that the cost of political or policy reversal is clearly understood before decisions are made. For Kenya, this disclosure reinforces a key lesson in project management. Decisions taken at feasibility and construction negotiation stage bind future administrations. PPP trade flexibility for speed and private financing, as well as the trade-off is deliberate. Linking the lessons to the current project, Rironi Nakuru MauSummit project. The planned Rironi Nakuru MauSummit highway is being pursued under similar PPP framework. Like the Nairobi Expressway, it is designed as a tolled road, with private financing expected to play a central role. From a project management and policy perspective, the Nairobi Expressway experience offers several clear lessons. One is contract clarity is non-negotiable. Termination clauses, toll adjustment mechanism, traffic risk assumption, and government support mechanism must be unambiguous. Any uncertainty ultimately translates into higher project cost. 2. Public communication must match contract reality. If tolling and long concession periods are politically sensitive, that sensitivity must be addressed before financial close, not after construction. Once contracts are signed, negotiation is costly and limited. 3. Fiscal transparency protects the public interest. Disclosing contingent liabilities, as Treasury has done, allows Parliament, auditors, and the public to understand long-term obligation. This is a cornerstone of sound project governance. 4. Traffic risk and revenue forecasting are critical. For intercity highways like Rironi Nakuru MauSummit, demand forecasting will determine toll viability. Over-optimistic projection can increase pressure for government intervention later in the concession. In short, the expressway is shaping how future road PPPs will be structured, scrutinized, as well as communicated. Let's address a common misunderstanding in this whole 103 billion saga. It is important to stress that Kenya is not being fined 103 billion Kenya shillings today, nor has any decision been made to terminate the Nairobi Expressway contract. The amount represents a disclosed exposure under specific contractual conditions. Such disclosures are standard practice in countries that actively use PPPs, including South Africa, the United Kingdom, Australia, among others. They are not evidence of failure, but of accounting discipline. In conclusion, we can, from a project management reality check, Nairobi Expressway debate is ultimately less about a single road and more about how Kenya select to deliver complex infrastructure in a constrained physical environment. From a project management perspective, PPPs demand long-term thinking, institutional consistency, and public honesty about trade-offs. They deliver speed and capital, but at the cost of rigid contracts that cannot be wished away when political winds shift. As Kenya moves forward with projects like Rironi Nakuru MauSummit, the lesson is clear. The real work of infrastructure happens long before ground is broken. It happens in feasibility studies, risk matrices, and contract clauses that quietly shape national obligations for decades. Handled well, PPPs remains a powerful tool for development. Handled casually, they become expensive reminders that in project management, commitments matter. So thank you for reaching this far. If it's your first time here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Also, watch other videos that we have made on this project and other projects. Thank you.